But as I said, if you just think of this before France and what I thought in this interview, Dan, first, if I could just use this as kind of a prompt and I can stop the share if you go
Okay.
off on,
Yes.
so,
Yes.
so
That
in
works.
Detroit, when you were in college, and then when you were working
Mhm.
at, at IBM and things like that, you interacted with Bucky Fuller, and years later, you went with him to Florence. Could you say a
Yes.
little bit about how did
Sure.
you run into Bucky Fuller and how did you go with him to Florence?
Yeah, well, of course, when I was studying electrical engineering at the University of Detroit, actually the fun people around were the architects. So I started hanging out with the architects because not only were they studying structure, but they were relatively cosmic, many of them. And so one day I ended up helping Bucky and crew physically carry their latest geodesic dome onto the University of Detroit campus. And Bucky was the old guy who had no problem telling people he had to go for a pee while 1,000 people were watching, which I found very inspiring. No, he was a great guy. But then later, his specialty actually was efficiency of use of materials. And in later years, where we learned that architectural structures also needed to create a living electric field, that was not his specialty. But the irony is, later in Florence, Italy, when he personally showed me and taught our group what's called the jitterbug from cube octa, ecosa, octa, tetra, and that model of charge collapse, he didn't know what charge was.